Hi friends, I miss each one of you so much. I hope you're enjoying this extra long break. I can't wait to see you when we can finally go back to school. I'm thinking of each one of you each and every day. And hopefully we'll be able to be in contact a little bit more as this break continues on. I figured today we could read a quick story. And I'm going to also be sending some different ideas for what you can be doing at home right now while you wait for school to start back up again. So we're going to read a little bit of Curious George today. So there's Curious George. This is George. He lived in Africa. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George saw a man. He had on a large yellow straw hat. The man saw George too. What a nice little monkey, he thought. I would like to take him home with me. He put his hat on the ground, and, of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree to look at the large yellow hat. Oh, he's looking at the yellow hat. I wonder what he's going to do with the hat. The hat had been on the man's head. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head. He picked it up and put it on. How silly, he's wearing the hat on his head. The hat covered George's head. He couldn't see anything. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into a bag. George was caught. So he did this to trick him so that he could catch him and put him in a bag. I wonder why. The man with the big yellow hat put George into a little boat, and a sailor rowed them both across the water to a big ship. George was sad, but he was still a little curious. On the big ship, things began to happen. The man took off the bag. George sat on a little stool, and the man said, George, I am going to take you to a big zoo in a big city. You will like it there. Now run along and play, but don't get into trouble. George promised to be good, but it is easy for little monkeys to forget. Oh no. I wonder what he's going to do. On the deck, he found some seagulls. He wondered how they could fly. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but oh no, I wonder what's going to happen next. What do you think? Go ahead and tell me really quick. I'm listening. I think he might jump off too and fall into the water. Let's look and see. Oh, what happened? First this, and then this. So he started, it looked like he thought he was flying, and then splash right into the water. You can see the fishies looking at him, and the birds looking at him. How silly. Where is George? The sailors looked and they looked. At last they saw him struggling in the water and almost all tired out. Look at there he is. They couldn't find him. Man overboard, the sailors cried as they threw him a lifebelt. George caught it and held on. At last he was safe on board. Oh goodness, and look at, he's spitting out all this water and there's fish in there. Let's count how many fish we see. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. He ate 4 fish while he was in there. How silly. After that, George was more careful to be a good monkey, until at last the long trip was over. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship onto the shore and on into the city to the man's house. So there they go. They're leaving the ship. They're saying, see you later. After a good meal and a good pipe, George felt very tired. So there he is. He's eating some dinner. He's getting ready for bed. He crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. He's very tired. He's had a very, very long journey. The next morning, the man telephoned the zoo. George watched him. He was fascinated. So when you're fascinated by something, that means you're really interested and you think it's really, really cool. Then the man went away. George was curious. He wanted to telephone too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What fun! He's pushing all the different buttons on the telephone. Ding-a-ling-ling! George had telephoned the fire station. Oh my goodness. What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think maybe they're going to think that there's an emergency and they're going to hurry to George's house? Let's look and see. The firemen rushed to the telephone. Hello, hello, they said, but there was no answer. Then they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from. Then they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from. They didn't know it was George. They thought it was a real fire. Oh no. Hurry, hurry! The firemen jumped onto the fire engines and onto the hook and ladders. Ding, ding, ding! Everyone out of the way! Hurry, hurry, hurry! They're on their way to a fire. The firemen rushed into the house. They opened the door. No fire? Only a naughty little monkey. Oh, catch him, they cried. George tried to run away. He almost did, but he got caught in the telephone wire. And, oh no. A thin fireman caught one arm and a fat fireman caught the other. You fooled the fire department, they said. We will have to shut you up where you can't do any more harm. They took him away and shut him in a prison. Oh no. How do you think George is feeling right now? Maybe sad, maybe a little angry, maybe a little bit scared because he's not quite sure where he is. George wanted to get out. He climbed up to the window to try the bars. Just then, the watchman came in. He got on the wooden bed to catch George, but he was too big and too heavy. The bed tipped up. The watchman fell over, and, quick as lightning, George ran out through the open door. Oh no, see it. It flipped right on top of him. How silly. He hurried through the building and out on the roof, and then he was lucky to be a monkey. Out he walked on the telephone wires. Quickly and quietly over the guard's head, George walked away. He was free. So look at, he's climbing over the telephone wires. That is not easy. That takes a lot of balance and a lot of focus. Down in the street outside the prison wall stood a balloon man. Oh, look at all those pretty balloons. A little girl bought a balloon for her brother. George watched. He was curious again. He felt he must have a bright red balloon. He reached over and tried to help himself. But, oh no. Okay, he's trying to be sneaky and get one for himself. Instead of one balloon, the whole bunch broke loose. In an instant, the wind whisked them all away, and with them went George, holding tight with both hands. Oh no, he's flying away. Up, up, he sailed higher and higher. The houses looked like toy houses, and the people like dolls. George was frightened. He held on very tight. Okay, he's flying over all of those houses. That's so high up. I'd be so scared too. At first, the wind blew in great gusts. Then it quieted. Finally, it stopped blowing altogether. George was very tired. Down, down he went. Bump! Onto the top of a traffic light. Oh no, look at, he's right on top of that traffic light. Everyone was surprised. The traffic got all mixed up. George didn't know what to do, and then he heard someone call, "George!" He looked down and saw his friend, the man with the big yellow hat. Oh my goodness. The man with the big yellow hat came at just the right time. George was very happy. The man was happy too. George slid down the post, and the man with the big yellow hat put him under his arm. Then he paid the balloon man for all the balloons, and then George and the man climbed into the car. And at last, away they went to the zoo. What a nice place for George to live. Look at, there he is at the zoo with all of his new friends, and they all have balloons too. What a wonderful story. So if you have time today, I would love you to draw a picture of what you see happening in our story. Maybe George with the balloons, maybe George when he was getting captured in the bag. Just one little drawing, and if you want to do more drawings, you totally can. I can't wait to see you all after this break is done. I will hopefully get to post some more videos for you soon. All right, have fun. I miss you.